informed worldview than I have. You've got a much deeper worldview from collecting people's glasses. You've got a much wider knowledge of the world from being on the dole in the north, of course." There was a lot of shouting from him back then. Long nights when his agitation, his flinches and side glances would coalesce into a stronger force. Might you say we were coming to an accommodation? Two people who'd always expected, planned, to live their lives alone. I'd never lived with anyone before. I had no idea what it might bring out in me. Certainly, I remember feeling that it was his dream world, his symbol world, that we were dragged into during those first arguments. And it frightened me. Being given, as I saw it, the part of a training dummy, outfitted in colours, slogans that I could not see. Edwyn's tall, over 6 feet, and these rooms do sometimes look too small for him. When we were rowing, especially, he'd often hunch himself up, round his shoulders, lower his head. Pacing, then pausing as if in a spotlight, he'd soliloquize, restating his credo, which is, "It's freedom that counts." He'd go on to wonder, haltingly, amazedly, at how he'd boxed himself in, ending up with me in his life, he meant. And when he did address me, it was abstractly, with strange conjectures, ruminations about what I thought, who I was. "I know you hate anyone who didn't grow up on benefits," he'd say. And if I objected, he took no notice, or didn't notice. He only continued, talking over me with mounting scorn. "I know you loathe anyone who didn't grow up in filth, on benefits." I used to leave my body, in a way, while this went on. It was so incessant, his phrases so concatenated. There was no way in. These were thick curtain walls. Edwyn has said since that he feels it's me trying to annihilate him. Strange business, isn't it? The difference between us, which I did try to keep in mind, was that he really did feel himself under threat back then. He'd had serious heart trouble, an operation. He'd had to lose a lot of weight, stop smoking. Things had settled down by the time we met, but he told me he couldn't feel safe. Not ever again. He was also starting to suffer terribly with his joints. Fibromyalgia, as we later found out. "I'm paying for something," he'd snarl, cornered. Or sometimes he'd just sit and sob, and look up at me with frightened eyes when I sat next to him. Edwyn grew up near Isleworth, an only child. He showed me the house once, the green he used to play on. We walk up that way most Saturdays, unless it's raining, taking the river path, crossing over at Putney. We hold hands, stop to feed the cruising ducks and coots, admire the doughtered dogs we see. I like hearing about Edwyn when he was small. He was a worried little boy, he tells me, when he was 3 and 4, scared to leave his mother. But then he did used to race to wave at the trains that passed his garden. "I was rushing towards life," he says. Later, there was the nature club he founded at school, to which he would admit helpers but no other members. Well, how could he trust them? One early romantic error stays with me, too. How he gave half an Easter egg each to the 2 girls in his class who liked him, terrified of alienating either one by preferring the other. "No, they didn't think much of that," he told me, earnestly, eagerly. "I went from 2 girls to no girls." My parents' old flat was in Chiswick. I've looked it up, nudging the touchpad to yaw around Spencer Road, to light on Gunya Court, which proved to be a small block, set between 2 more robust-looking beast-coloured villas. I could picture the living room, having seen a photograph, but nothing else came back. Sundays have always been for work. I take the settee. Edwyn brings his papers down from his study. With the last of a